Hello, mech fans. This is Duncan Fisher. Hold on firmly to your mana potions, fireballs, and familiars, because you are tuning in to your regularly scheduled episode of the First Circuit Podcast.
And welcome to episode 115 of the First Circuit Podcast. Tonight's hosts are Ian.
I'm crying. The topics today are so sad.
Larsh.
It's going to be one of those days.
Fighter.
Greetings, fellow humans.
And myself, Oldbob10025. Tonight's topics are Mechwarrior line sales and events. The license got extended for 5 more years. Even more debate about Group Q. No Guts, No Galaxy is changing hands. Mechwarrior 5 has a definitely good sale. And Battletech from Hairbrain Schemes has the last patch, and we'll see what's going on there. All coming up next.
All right. So, should we go ahead and get the show going, guys?
Sure.
What do we got?
Will you be my sweet Valentine?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
I was asking about 2 weeks late anyway.
But yeah, we had the event. The event has come and gone. Was there really much to talk about the event for that one?
Back in January.
Mech event. I think we already rolled over that one. We're going into the Weekend Brawl event, which is the current one now, going on until what, March 6th at the moment?
Yeah, Weekend Brawl.
Current event. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, it's easy. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it's easy.
I'm going to give him credit. This is actually a decent event if you are, old or new player actually. Almost every single weapon is half off on C-bills. Plenty of mechs are on sale for MC, about half off. I'm not going to go through the whole entire list. And the event itself is easy with tons of MC goodies.
Yeah, it's very much along the lines of past Weekend Warriors where they want PGI is enticing us to just play the game and get some free stuff. And the only thing in here that's kind of difficult, in my opinion, is the 9 victories, because teams are kind of one-sided, and you have to be on the correct side for 9 times.
No, that's true. But I think we played Friday night for about 3 hours, and I got almost all of these completed. And it just dumps MC. And you know what? The MC can be used on the mech sales, so the perpetual machine keeps it rolling on that one.
Yeah. I would say the biggest issue with that victories event is it's also the one that gives premium time. As always, we want to give premium time at the beginning rather than at the end of the event.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things. In fact, did they listen to us on that about doing that? Because that, after we talked about it, they kind of changed that for a lot of events.
What, you mean just play the game?
I don't
and
know. It could just be random noise. Like, at least in this, there's 3 levels. Get 1 victory, get 3 victories, get 9 victories.
Mhm.
So you should have premium time at the first victory. But no, they put it at the 9th victory.
That's
And
really
the
weird.
other 2 are just MC, which
It's
yeah, it's the wrong way around.
PGI has a different understanding of how much MC something is worth. And I feel like they're valuing premium time really high up. Like way too high in my opinion. And I think they should kind of adjust their own view on premium time and be like, okay, it's not something that's crazy expensive that we have to give out as the final reward. It's something we want to get out early and often.
Well, it's kind of weird though.
Yeah.
They actually give MC a lot more than premium time, like crazy. I mean, literally, you don't have to buy MC like in the game if you just do all the events.
Bida, do you know how much MC is 1 day premium time?
No, I haven't really bought premium time for MC.
Yeah, that's the issue. I still have 2 years banked. I kind of never.
I got about a year and a half
Yeah.
banked actually myself.
I think we all have enough banked for about a year or 2 from all the mech packs we bought in the past, or were gifted or whatever. But personally, I think at this point, I would rather get MC because I'm a stupid person for bolt-ons. So I'm gonna buy bolt-ons.
Okay, premium time is 7 days is $6, 30 days is $12. So
Yeah.
and then doesn't cost MC, I guess. So they just want to have the money on that instead of the MC. to get 1250 MC, it's $7. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's you actually
Yeah,
buy
but
GSP for some weird.
So 5 days for 1,000 MC roughly, 200 a day.
Yeah.
But I would say overall, this event is really good, especially if you are a new player. If we do have new players coming in, this is now your chance to get a decent amount of MC, some C bills, a little bit of premium time. And typically, one of the hardest things for new players is just trying to purchase weapons, I would say. And this is a really good chance to really get in if you are a new player, if you are out there listening.
Yep, 50% sale on all the weapons. I mean, most of the weapons are kind of affordable, but if you have something like the LB20 or if you're trying to kit out a heavy gauss mech, this is absolutely the time to pick up. And heck, even if
Yeah.
you're planning to buy something like a Fafnir or an Annihilator in the near future, just go ahead and buy the weapons now because you know you're
Yeah.
going to need them.
Oh yeah, definitely by far. Like the Gauss rifle, what is like 600,000 like right now, or what?
Yeah, it's
Something
half
like
off, so
that.
it's
Yeah,
600,000 rather
that
than 1.2
that
million.
saves you. Guy usually make about 300,000 a match, and so like that's like one Gauss rifle. So that's good. You know, instead of working 2 matches just to get a Gauss rifle. So that's a good
No,
thing, guys.
you're still gonna need 2 matches to get a heavy gauss rifle.
Well, not a heavy. I'm talking normal Gauss
Oh, a
rifles.
regular, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're actually averaging 300k seals. That's a lot.
Yeah, about that. You know, I sit there with I'm the support guy. Like I shoot down a lot of missiles. I love shooting down like missiles, and so you get a lot of get a lot of points for that.
That's
And plus,
only XP though. AMS
no, actually,
doesn't
it
only
gives you
seals.
match score, which then adds to your total like CBL base. And then I use a lot of mechs that actually have that are hero mechs, and that also adds to it as well. And I have a lot of premium time.
Yeah, premium time hero makes that's for us.
Yeah.
I'd say on average you earn like 120 to 150k a match.
About
I think
average.
that's what the
Yeah.
average person earns.
Yeah. But I like supporting, taking points and everything too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so just to put into perspective, if you're kind of a new player and you wanna kit out your Fafnir, you're gonna need 20 matches just to afford the heavy gauss rifle.
Yep.
Which is fair.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
Or whether if you're buying an Annihilator and want to put it into the meta dual heavy gauss because Fafnir comes with dual heavy gauss.
Yeah, sales, at least for the in-game sequel stuff, is always nice, but I always it's only convenient if you happen to be buying any weapons right now. And for me, at least, the biggest cost for me was always just engines and buying the mechs up front. You play in the mech for a while, and eventually you get the weapons, and the weapons are the more affordable part. The big expenses are the engines and the mechs.
Yeah.
All right.
As-
And for the bundle sales, there are some bundles that are on sale via the in-game store. Especially curious the GSP and the Siebel bundles. Usually we're like, don't do it because it's really not worth it. But in this particular case, with them being 50% off and the events giving you a fair bit of MC, do you guys think it might be worth to pick up one of those Siebel bundles?
The CBL bundles?
If you're a new player and you don't want to spend on colors or stuff yet, you're just trying to get some more weapons and mechs, do you think it would be worth to pick up one of these Siebel bundles?
How much is it?
It's 400 MC for the smallest one, which is 1 million Siebels.
I mean, you get what 18 to 25 million from the first 25 matches, right?
Yes.
But it's just a question of whether it's worth it now at 50% off to spend money on MC to buy C-bills. The best rate would obviously be 2,000 MC for 6.5 million C-bills. Now, 2,000 MC is about $10, $12.
Mhm.
And that's 6.5 mil, which is enough to buy like a medium mech.
Yeah.
I don't think like that's really worth it, honestly.
Yeah.
Even at
And I'd
50%
say
off.
even with the events, 1 million Siebels is gonna take you at least 2 events to grind. At least I think on average the events have slightly less than 400 MC. So that's still not a whole lot of value you're getting there.
Yeah.
The events always
Mhm.
give plenty of C-bills if you're ever looking for them. So
Yes.
just come back every weekend and play the events. They're usually this week and last week week's events were just all play the game. There's nothing ridiculous like play trial mechs, whatever. Just play the game. You get C-bills, and I don't think it's worth it. There's also the GSP bundle. Now, what do you think about 625 MC for 100 GSP, so 100 skill points, enough to skill out a mech and a bit more.
One Mac, yeah.
So that's yeah, it's like $3 to skill out a mech.
You know what? I'd probably pay for that.
Yeah.
Kind of depends on what you're going for. If you're someone like Bida who plays the game to master mechs, you
Mhm.
obviously don't want it. But if you're a really casual player who just wants to have some fun and who has the money, sure. It's not
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd do it. Yeah.
C-bills, you can just gradually accumulate them over time and the events give it. But XP and GSP,
Mhm.
that's a fair bit of a grind. It takes a while to actually skill up your mechs. So
Well-
$3 to skip the grind right now is a lot better than $6.
Well, what? It's like 40,000 C-bills and 800 XP for one SP, right? So.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You have to play
yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
play the game to earn the XP on the mech and then spend C-bills on it. And the rate you earn XP, particularly if you aren't on premium time,
Yeah.
is quite slow. So it takes you, I don't know, let's just say 50, 60 games, whatever, to skill up a mech. And whilst you're doing it, if you aren't on premium time, your C-bill earnings is greatly depreciated. Whereas this, you pay $3 and you instantly master your mech, and it's really nice.
I think it's worth it actually. Like they even have a general skill point thing for $10 for 200. So $10 you could skill out your mech no problem, and I think that's okay too.
Yeah. So my base to give us a summary at least on all these sales, I don't think it's worth spending buying MC to get C-bills. I don't think it's worth buying the bundles of mechs. Those are always way too expensive, and you don't need all the different variants anymore. So yeah, the only thing is $3 for 100 general skill points, and even
Yeah.
then, you can just earn it in game, honestly. And this is just a convenience choice right now. It's almost half decent price.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely
Mhm.
so. Yeah.
That's the weekend. Well, we're going on until March 6th, midnight.
Yeah, not bad.
So you're still gonna have some days to do the event and pick up weapons or perhaps skill points.
All the way until the end of this Friday coming. Okay, so
And speaking of still going on a
yeah.
long while, my transitions.
Your what?
Mechwarrior has been the license has been extended
Oh.
for 5 years.
Hold on.
For
It said
PGN?
it's been extended.
Yes.
Not anything official.
Well, yeah.
You know,
Well, I
that's
mean,
okay. Like,
let's go over what happened and let's go over what we would like to
Yeah.
have happened instead. So we've got it kind of started out on Reddit as always with Sean Lang posting that Rosset popped into his chat, confirming a couple things, including that the Mechwarrior Online license from Microsoft has been extended for another 5 years, which would be until 2024, 2025. We're not exactly certain which date it starts and ends on. And yeah, was apparently spend some time in the chat and just kind of hang out, which is cool. He's engaging with people, which is progress. But, and that's kind of the first thing.
It's
That's
progress. He's doing
it's
better.
progress.
he's slowly getting there.
He's
But
learning.
he's not quite there, because that's the first thing I tweeted at him. The time he spent in chat could have been used to write more than one post on Mechwarrior Online, MWOmax.com, which is where most people are going to see it. Like Reddit is kind of obscure even in the Battletech community, and obviously NGNG TV's chat is like small compared to the complete player base. So a lot of people aren't even going to know about this. So posting it on the homepage would reach more people. And also it would be more official, because right now all we have is the word of Russ Bullocks, and gonna be quite honest, that's not something I trust too much, even though in this case I do trust him enough. But yeah, just posting it on the homepage would have been so much better and realistically a lot quicker for him to do.
Yeah, posting on the homepage makes it seem official, whereas if he just randomly turns up into a chat and gives that explanation there, we're like, can we get a breathalyzer test just to make sure?
Just to make
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Can
See-
you give us the mail of your contact at Microsoft so we can question him? We kind of
Yeah.
trust
Yeah,
him
right.
more.
See, the issue
Oh,
is this.
that is harsh. That is harsh to say that we trust Microsoft more than us.
See, the problem is this. Just like you said, it'll be more official. You would think that actually something that big for having MechWarrior Online would be on the main page, like you said, like Ian. But the thing is, though, like you're looking at these breadcrumbs that are popping up, like No Guts, No Galaxies is no longer the PR, right? You got Tina gone. You got the main page of the community page with no actually streamers. It doesn't show up to streamers like anymore for MechWarrior Online. So I would like to see this on the main page. It would have been so easy just to pop something up there, make it official for everyone to go see for something this huge for MechWarrior Online to be on there. And I, unfortunately though, I would believe it when I see it on that page, type thing, for 5 more years.
Yeah.
You know,
Now, I'm not totally familiar with it, but the license extension, this is just, it's not a heavy commitment necessarily. It's just you talk to Microsoft and they said, yeah, sure, we'll extend the license. All people were worrying about, whether MWO will get more support or if they will shut down the servers and the license. Even if they have the license for 5 more years, if it's not worth it for them to keep the servers up, they could still just shut it down, etc., etc. So I don't think it's a heavy commitment, and in some ways, just talking about the license is a bit of an incidental detail. It's nice for them, but for us, we're still wanting to see some commitment. As it is, I think you could post it at MWO or just post it on Twitter or something onto his own personal Twitter. That way, it's it's an open declaration. Just let people know.
Okay.
And that would be my suggestion.
Yes. Speaking of Twitter, though, I'm fairly certain the whole thing started because I don't recall if it was hours or days prior, someone tweeted at us that a bunch of YouTubers were spreading rumors that McWarrior Online was about to shut down, and basically, I think Critical Rockets discussed his opinion and his ideas, and people just kind of went with it and over exaggerated what Critical Rocket said, and they were like, "Hey, we've heard from this guy, we trust this guy, and he said you're gonna shut down a couple in less than a month." That was the what people said on Twitter, and was like, where did you hear that kind of rumors? That is absolutely dumb and bullshit.
Yeah.
And I feel like this kind of prompted him to go into chat. And again, I'm like, if you have such an issue with these kind of rumors, just post something on MechWarrionLineWorks.com. It doesn't have to be a hard commitment. Just be like, we're committed to keeping it going for like 2 or 3 or 4 months. That's how much budget we already have planned. And we absolutely plan on keeping going for as long as possible. Just something like this. Not even giving us an explanation, just telling us that you're committed.
Well, the whole thing is though, like you'll find in gaming though, like once you have these type of rumors floating about, and then even if you say no, 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 everyone's gonna start jumping ship to different things, and so you have to do what Ian says and put it on the website saying, hey, blah 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 this, blah blah that. This we're gonna have it for 5 more years. We're dedicated. We're working on faction play, working on new thing. You could go and put stuff in your mech, whatever. Working on different things. Stick with us. Spend more money like with us. Because a lot of times when those rumors start happening, it's like the Titanic. They start jumping in lifeboats and start taking off, and doing other things. And so you want to quash those as soon as possible. That's what Russ did, but he needs to put it on the website itself. Period. End of story.
Now,
And he doesn't even need to be this detailed. Just like addressing recent rumors, we are still really committed. We don't have a detailed roadmap just yet, but we're working on it. Please stick with us for another 2, 3, 4 weeks before we can deliver you a proper look at what we've got planned.
now to play devil's advocate at least a little, what we've seen from Russ's behavior though is he wouldn't want to say that we are committed. If you remember the most recent dev AMA thing they did, they said, okay, don't worry guys, you were worrying about MWO, we're just saying hello, we recognize you're there. goodbye. Well, he doesn't say goodbye. He just says, we recognize you're there. Now, why is he doing that? Why doesn't he say we are, like, he does say, oh, we aren't looking to close down the servers. We do want the game to run on for further. He's mentioned this kind of things, but he isn't saying we are committed. And I think the simple answer is just that the company is probably up in the air. He doesn't want to make any commitments right now because there isn't a plan. Which is why, in some ways, I don't think he really is. He's not. What I can see from his mindset is he's not going for, oh, we are committed to MWO for another 2 months. He is really sort of avoiding that. He's just saying, I'm wanting to keep MWO running. He doesn't want to put a date to it. We personally, as members in the community, of course, would really love to hear commitment and at least a couple of months of safety and security. But who knows what's happening behind the secretive doors of PGI in regards to their finances and whatnot. And I think that's my guess, at least, which is why, in some ways, that's why he just said, by the way, guys, the license has been extended.
Now,
And he posted it in an unofficial way.
Now, to let everyone know, this is all speculation. We're not saying it's gonna be closing next week or anything. We're all speculating on everything that's happened. So just let you guys know that.
Yeah.
Which is
We
the worst
are in the
thing.
dark, and that is very much how Rust/PGI operates, and that is why he won't make a commitment like that. Though, yeah, even if you're just going to announce that your license has been extended, that is still relatively good news. It's something, and posting it in some official means that is more accessible to the community would be much better.
Yeah, which is kind of like the fact we brought up in past podcasts. Don't say anything. Just get all of your facts together and then release it. Just close your mouth. Just, Russ, please. Just like I would rather have no communication for like 3 months and then have like an info dump because it just causes all this endless speculation. That's my opinion, though.
If it would have been interesting if they pull together some resources to do something nice for MWO, and they launch it, and at the same time say, "Oh, by the way, our license has been extended another 5 years," and it gives a much better impression because people are like, "Oh, hey, a new backpack launched, and they're going to keep it going for 5 years." That's the implication, even if that's not necessarily true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's PR, Okay.
Yeah, maybe just
Yeah.
to quelch some potential rumors coming out of our community. I think all of us kind of agree that even though we're speculating, we're fairly positive that MWO Online is not going to die anytime soon, and that PGI is probably going to leave it running, even if they're not really going to do that much anymore. I think that's something we can agree on, right?
Yeah.
As long as PGI sticks around, they're probably keeping MWO servers running. It's just the biggest risk is if PGI just explodes, and so too does MWO servers.
Yeah, that would be bad because we don't have Mechwarrior 5 on Steam yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's not going to be for a while now. But in terms of Mechwarrior Online, kind of to get on to our next topic, I keep glancing over at my Twitter feed because more and more things keep cropping up on Twitter. So what I am actually talking about is, I think was it this last night? Yeah, 12 hours ago from the podcast recording. I reached out on to Russ and said, basically, can we look at the current state of the Group Q in Mechwarrior Online sometime? Some streamers want to organize on Friday nights, but you really can't do Group Q unless you have a dedicated 12-man. And this has caused quite a buzz that I did not expect that I would think I would see. Because I woke up this morning with a bunch of alerts, and actually Ross had replied back, and so has Chris Lowry. And he actually put up a new update about 5 minutes ago, actually. So it's still going, guys.
Want to Rush it or Chris?
Chris.
Chris. Okay. Yeah. The whole issue is Group Q, and basically how it's almost only on Friday nights between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. and that's it. If you try to do Group Q any other times, you're pretty much going to wait on Search Warrior Online. And so, like Russ is pretty much saying, you have to modify a bunch of different things, and even then, you would only have up to a lance. And Chris is saying that it would create kill teams of people just in a 4-man lance of heavies and assaults. But I was saying just go ahead and limit the tonnage, so it's not going to be like that. You'll probably have 250 tons, or even like at max 210 or something like that to go stop that from happening, depending on how many people you have in the lance. But the thing is, though, Group Q's dead. It only works on Friday nights, and they need to fix that, or dump it, or something, and put it into a single queue and go from there. Because literally, if you watch any streamer, they're always sync dropping. Period. Because they don't want to sit there and go wait. No one wants to wait to go play a game.
Yeah, and I really can't say that even streamers have Group Q functioning, because you need to have that dedicated 12-man to really get Group Q to function. Because even you can get like a group of 8 or 9 people, but Group Q is still not going to function. You still can't find a game even with that amount of people. And right now is that I know Chris has some pushback, and he updates here and there recently that he doesn't want that group of 4 people in a lance to kill a kill team. But I think kind of like what you said, if you were to like basically limit the tonnage, that would eliminate that scenario of getting the kill team. And right now, it really kind of kills any kind of going further than the gameplay, but the actual community. Is like I think that, because I know back in the heyday, this game was basically you get a group of friends together. It could have been like 4, 5, 8, all the way up to that 12-man. But it didn't really matter if you had like a small group or a large group. You had a thriving community of players who wanted to play. But right now, if you're going to get the players who are discouraged because they can't even get their smaller groups together, then Group Q is going to be dead. It's going to push people away, because MechWarrior Online was that group community, being able to go ahead and drop with your friends. But if you can't even do that, that kind of takes away a big chunk of the game, I think.
Yeah, there's kind of 2 sides to the whole argument that's going on Twitter right now. We have a fact. The baseline fact is Group Q, as it is designed right now, doesn't work with the reduced player based. That's a simple fact. Currently, you can do solo drops and you can do 12-man, but anything in between is kind of possible. So there's one obvious solution. You need to mix the buckets back together. I know that's something Biter loves to talk about, all the many buckets. Let's reduce the number of buckets. And Russ is kind of bringing up the main concern. You need to kind of plan it so you don't have 11-man groups and then everyone else is solo, because that would be even more stompy than a lot of games are right now already. So that's obviously a big concern, being like, okay, solo drops can mix with up to 4-man groups. I think that's a good number, up to 3, maybe up to 4, probably. And that's like, this part of the argument is probably fine. Like, we can mix this part. That's not too bad. But Chris is bringing in the other argument, which is tonnage. And here I'm kind of getting the feeling that Chris is still trying to. I feel like Chris is kind of a perfectionist when it comes to balance. He's trying to really make a balanced game. And my argument would be, at the current stage of MechWarrior Online, maybe you shouldn't go for perfect balance. Maybe you should just go ahead and try stuff. Like, put all the groups together for 5 weeks and get feedback.
Or
and then
just do the
take a certain
PTS
number
system.
and test it for a couple of weeks.
I think the paradigm we have is that as the player numbers dwindle, we do need to mix together the buckets, so that we don't have this awkward fact that you have to either all go solo queue or all have a 12-man. So as the player base dwindles, it makes more and more sense to mix the buckets. On the other hand, though, from PGI's perspective, it's simply mixing up the buckets like this requires work. Like, it's going to require a lot of active work to make sure it actually
it requires work, but that's the point. It requires work. And it's one of those things where people like myself as a streamer should not be putting out these ideas to fix an issue. I'm not getting paid by PGI.
We don't. The thing is, it's not a matter of just needing the idea. It's just sitting down and putting all the time and effort in. That's what I said. Work. It's not
True.
anybody can be an idea guy, but we need to sit down and actually calculate the tonnage values, how we're actually going to implement it, and how the matchmaker is going to work with group and solo queue. Because right now there's a bunch of code for solo queue, there's a bunch of code for group queues. With group queue, it doesn't care about tonnage of the groups. You could have a 12-man taking minimum tonnage against a 12-man taking maximum tonnage, and it doesn't care. All it's trying to do is throw groups together. With solo queue, has a lot more finite stuff going on, where it tries to balance the different weight classes, and it tries to balance skill levels. It can be a lot more finite with individuals. When you're throwing in groups, however, groups are going to have a variety of tonnages. So do you let's just say Chris talks about, you have a lance of 4 assaults or 3 assaults. You could in solo queue put them into the assault lance. So they're all the assaults and all the others are filled out by pugs. So the pugs take mediums, heavies, and lights. Or because it's a group, you can make it so that more lights are taken in on average. That's one solution. Another way could be you could really limit the size of groups, the tonnage, so that a group coming in will take a medium, a light, and a heavy or something like that if they're a group of 3. And then you have the matchmaker have to say, okay, what the light goes into the light lance, the medium goes into the medium lance, and the heavy goes into the heavy/assault lance. It's just they're different matchmakers, and simply put, you have to sit down with a coder and work that out. And not only that, you have to design the game around this mixed bucket system. So it requires work.
Yeah, it's one of those points where there are so many ways to approach a matchmaker, and we have no idea what approach PGI took. So it's really hard for us to argue and find actual solutions. We can just kind of give our overarching concerns and hopes.
And now my goal is not to cause a stir and not to say you should be doing this, but the thing that I fear right now is that every few days on Twitter you see a person say, I played this game for a long time, now I'm leaving, and you never really see any new influx of new players. And I don't want to see this game just fizzle out super quick, because I think we can all agree we enjoy this game to an extent, but I think a few of us are just not having that much fun because we can't find games. And and it's one of those things where we know it's going to be a lot of work, but I think too is that people begin to speculate, which is also I'm guilty of that too. But I don't know where to go from this. So
yeah, from the player's perspective, it's a growing issue that we want to be addressed. From PGI's perspective, it will require a lot of work to implement or to fix. But it's a cost-benefit analysis. As the player base gets smaller and smaller, this problem becomes a bigger and bigger issue. And if you are looking to keep the game around, it becomes more and more worth it to actually sit down and get this done. And in fact, it is better in the long run to get this done sooner rather than later.
Well, it's kind of like what faction play is, basically. I mean, literally, you can't get a match whatsoever in faction play. And so, like, a lot of times when you get bit by a rattlesnake or by something really poisonous, you have to cut off that limb. And faction play and group Q are pretty much that poison that's bringing it down. I'm not saying, completely cut it off, but do something, because right now I haven't even looked at faction play and group Q. Like, whenever I stream Mechwarrior online, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna go do solo queue and then sync drop with everybody. That's what everyone's doing now. And so you have to do something based off of the player base, which is dwindling on a daily basis.
All I'm wondering in my head is, PGI last year, of course, did put some effort into MWO whilst they're developing Mechwarrior 5.
Yeah.
That would be the time to do the mixed bucket queue, to start working towards reducing the number of buckets. And instead, all they did was try and reinforce the faction warfare bucket by breaking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an issue. And then as much as I hate to say it because I love it, but no one plays it, is Solaris. Solaris might need to be, cut out or somehow find a way to implement those maps for a different purpose. You
No,
know,
actually,
I'm not too
people do
sure what
play
you
it.
would
They
do
have
with
two
them.
accounts. They have two accounts and blow each other's heads off. That's what they
Well,
do.
yeah, I mean, but that's not fair. But it's one of those things where, is that I would hate to say to, get rid of a large amount of content like all the maps that were made for faction play and Solaris, because a lot of work was put into those, and I really can't see them getting rid of those. So it's one of those things where, people are asking for map variety in solo and group Q. And I mean, I have no answer for this, but I mean, it'd be kind of interesting to see if they could work those map designs into a different function of sorts.
Yeah, yeah,
If you want to do, play against a friend, Solaris is there and it's just sitting there, it's available. I don't think it's actually that much of a problem. It's a bit like how you can open up a private lobby and verse each other 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, etc., etc. Having the options isn't a problem, but the fundamental issue with group queue is just simply, sometimes people want to play alone, and a lot of times people want to play with their friends against other groups, rather than and it not always being a private environment. You have to actually earn XP and C bills towards your max, and that's why we're so upset. It's just at least the group queue is struggling, and group queue is a great place for people to team up, and it was the place to go for people to team up and play with their friends.
Yeah. So I sadly, I really have no solution. I really have nothing more to input, sadly, than just I am frustrated. It'd be kind of
yeah.
nice to get a solution, but sadly, I don't know what we're gonna do or how it's gonna go from here. So that's where I sit at, really, on that.
I think you
Yeah,
speak for a lot of streamers. Actually, we're all frustrated. Basically,
Yeah.
we're all frustrated on a lot of things.
There's two big solutions, more or less, for the game going forward. One is, you mix together solo and group queue, and make it all one big search queue. The other that they have mentioned was reducing the size of the game but down to 8v8. That way, it's easier to form a group in group queue, or put groups together in group queue. But both, again, are radically changing how the game plays and will require effort to make sure it's properly implemented.
I mean, I would almost be fine with 8v8, actually,
Hmm.
or at least if we were to try the public test server for 8v8.
I was against it, like before, because it's not really a lore type thing. They really didn't have like 8v8. They had like 12 versus 12, or like stuff like that. But at this point and at the stage of how MW is, I mean, 8v8 would probably be the best thing to go with, or at least test it out and see how it works.
I'm gonna be honest, I still remember 8v8 very well, and I remember when it jumped over to 12v12, and I always thought, and I still think 12v12 is a giant upgrade that makes the game more balanced and a lot more fun, so I'm thoroughly against going back to 8v8. And I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't think 8v8 would fix the group queue issue. I think if you want to get a midterm solution, you need to implement both things, like not just 8v8, but also you need to kind of mix groups. And even then, both of those are just band-aids. It's not a solution for your actual
Yeah, that's
problem, which is
true too.
rendering
Yeah.
player base. It's just a temporary patch, hoping that at some point the game is going to recover. And I feel
Yeah.
like PGI should maybe take a new look at the roadmap. Maybe just let this lie, because as Spider said, it's work. And maybe just focus work on something else, hoping to draw players back in. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what the solution is here. It's not easy. And I don't
Yeah.
envy PGI for having to make
Oh
those
no.
decisions.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So if anything, I think we could probably just say that it's going to be up in the air. Maybe next podcast, maybe we'll touch back if there's been any update. Because it seems like there are replies between Nutty Rats and a few other streamers and Chris on a constant back and forth today. So I think we could probably just say that it is up in the air and things will be updated when we find out.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, onward.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Everyone drink a beer. Yep.
Yep.
Speaking of yups, here are some news that aren't so yup. Bombadil, or Darren, as you may know him from No Guns No Galaxy, is retiring from the gaming industry and streaming. No Guns No Galaxy is now fully owned and operated by Phil, aka Sean Lang. So that's just news. Honestly, I'm not too surprised. He's getting in the age group where he might want to think about what he wants to do with his life going forward. And maybe he decided that streaming, as fun as it was, is not what he needs to fulfill his life. So that's absolutely his decision.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of sad to see one of the main faces, one of the really nice people from the community retire, though.
Yeah, because I mean, he was a pillar that is going to be missed, I think. No one. I don't think he really said what he was doing afterwards. But I mean, that's his own thing. So I'm not going to pry
He
into
just
that
saying
at
he's
all.
getting out of gaming entirely. So
yeah. So because I thought he would stay and move on to other games and whatnot. But hey, I mean, things move on, and best of luck to him, whatever he does.
Yeah, definitely best of luck to him, man. Nice guy too.
Nice guy. Really nice guy. And I mean, I will admit, he was one of the reasons why I began streaming, and he was one of the ones who reached out with, if not all, most of the mech packs you saw stream.
Yeah.
On the channel at least.
He was a good PR guy. I liked him.
He was the provider of shells.
He was, yes.
Yeah.
He really was.
He got you your monthly fix.
I mean, he was that needle that got me in every month to make me do videos. But beyond that, though, I mean, he really was a massive help to a community of streamers, at least.
Yeah, definitely, and just in general, though, like for the game itself, for Battletech, nice, pretty cool, and best luck to him, man. Best luck, and best luck to No Guts Not Galaxy with Sean there.
Yep.
Okay.
Going forward, we have the first ever sale for Mechwarrior 5. Mechwarrior 5 is now on sale for 15% off for the standard edition, 20% for the digital deluxe edition, which I don't even know what it features. But you can get the game for $40 to $49.
Yeah.
Instead of 49. Yeah. Deluxe gives the soundtrack and like wallpaper pack or whatever. Those usual little bits pieces.
Yeah.
Alternatively, if you're living in Europe, it's still €42, so you're paying a bit extra. But hey, we're used to that.
And how much is the game normally?
49. Yeah.
50 flat. And like this is something that has been asked a lot, but is Mechwarrior 5 worth $42? Like the people who didn't buy it for 50, should they be hopping on for 42? And I always kind of said no, so I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say.
I mean, I didn't buy it, so that's a good question that I would like to answer.
I bought it. In fact, I made a whole video about my whole rant about it, and I would say that $29.99 is good. $39.99 is like probably maybe the most I would probably charge for the game. The problem is that the game has a lot of gravy but no meat and potatoes. It has a lot of cool visuals and a lot of detail put into it, and I highly that just for that alone they did a lot of good research for that. But story's lacking, the gameplay was lacking. It just after a while it's like I don't want to play this anymore. It's nothing that that draws you in like with immersion. But like I said, it has a lot of gravy, which is all the really neat looking stuff. You do missions, you have your merc unit, like all the kinds of cool things that we all like. But it's like HBS BattleTech Lite. It's like a lighter version of HBS with first person shooting and with co-op, and that's pretty much the thing. And if it didn't have co-op, I'll say $19.99.
So what percentage is it off even? It's like 50 to...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just 15% off. It's a slight cut. One thing I was just looking up right now was on the Epic Games Store, I don't see it on the front anymore.
No,
that's true. And speaking of the Epic Games Store, the Epic Games Store doesn't even tell us that it's currently on sale. It just gives me the price of €42. There's no mention of, hey, this is a sale and the sale is going on until whatever.
Huh.
It's just, this is the price now. So that's cool. Are we saying that this is a permanent price reduction?
Could very well be. So I think they've lost their front spot on the Epic Games Store. So now you have to lower the price. You've got your majority of sales. At least your majority of your exposure on the front of the page. So now the price point's going to be a lot more of an issue because it's not a new release anymore. And if anyone looks up it on Metacritic or whatever, it's a very middling reviews. So I think it makes total sense to cut back on the price of this game. I would have gone much further though, perhaps.
I just
Yeah,
checked
and
on the store. It's $49.99 like right now.
yeah, I just posted in the Discord, which we're
Yeah.
using here for the stream here. I'm checking on the site, and it still shows $49.99 for your standard and $59.99 for your
Yeah.
for your deluxe edition. So even on the site, at least for us American guys, it still shows full price.
Yeah, for me it's 40 quid, which I think is full price. I didn't bother looking at it when it came out.
But like I said, though, like, it has a lot of gravy. So, if you're a mech fan, yeah, it'd be cool and everything. It'd be really, really nice to go get that kind of thing. But as far as it just doesn't have any meat and potatoes, to go involve you, to suck you into the game itself. It's cool, but it just doesn't have enough I guess for me to suck you in. But I'm a freakazoid on some things, on like lore and all that kind of stuff, which it doesn't really do
I'm
much
just
about
gonna
it.
say Bob is the one person who always defended MWO5, and
Yeah.
many of the aspects that we guys always said are absolutely terrible. And he's the guy who still gave the game every chance he could. And
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
Bob is disappointed at this point. And I'm gonna be completely honest. The last like 2 or 3 hours of the campaign missions, I seriously had to force myself to start up the game and finish the story, because the story was kind of interesting. I wanted to see where it goes in the end, but that it wasn't enough to really draw me in. And the whole management campaign system just doesn't compare to Battletech, and I guess that's always what we say.
Yeah, it was like
But
Battletech Light.
yeah, personally, I would say at 19.99, if it's on a like 60% sale, go and get it. Like 50 or less percent sale, I don't know. I
No,
can't
not
fully
yet.
recommend the game at this current
So,
point in time. You're
yeah.
gonna have to wait. And also, one note that's really important: we are still hoping for a Steam release in
Yeah.
9 months.
Yeah,
So
wait.
it's a really big question you're gonna have to ask yourself. Even if the game is on sale in Epic, do you want it on the Epic platform? And that's the same question we're gonna have to ask ourselves in April when the DLC comes out. Do we want to buy that DLC on the Epic Game Store, knowing you're gonna have to re-buy it if you want to switch over to Steam?
Yeah, personally, I might wait until the holiday Steam sale and see if anything hits.
Yeah, the thing is, like with the game, I think it'll be complete, on Steam, basically, as far as all the
Yeah.
bugs were, worked out, all the different things, like you can sell your mechs in the can storage, just simple things they should have play tested for a long time with actual play testers, besides people saying, yes, Russ, it's good, like real play testers give some like good advice. It'll be done on Steam, and I think, though, if you're waiting, it'd be a good idea, go on Steam. If you don't care about like Epic, like I don't really give a crap, I'm gonna just keep it in Epic. I'm not gonna rebuy it on Steam though. There'll be no way. I don't see spending $100 for the game to go ahead and buy in like Epic or buy in Steam. Sorry, but yeah, it's just wait. If you're waiting, wait to Steam, because then the game will be done 100%.
Yeah,
Alright,
and at
so-
that point, maybe I would be more comfortable recommending it at $40. Like right now, I can't.
Yes.
I can't
Yeah.
recommend it at $40. Period.
Yeah, I would say the issue I have a little bit is, talking about the price points, is at least the value of money, of course, is different according to your means. So that's very subjective, and the same, of course, goes for what platforms you're on.
Yeah.
I think the simple points though is that we're big Battletech fans, and we're still quite let down by this game. It is a very middling game, and therefore you don't want to pay top dollar like they're asking for it. You want to get it as a bargain basement price. And as we said, looking forward, it is going to eventually be on Steam. And I think the biggest thing is just wait and see how the DLC pans out and whether they'll do a complete edition further down the line. So if you've waited this long, just keep waiting, I think is the simple answer. That's the one I've gone to.
Yeah.
15%? No, that did not tempt me. Not at all.
So hold off for a bit, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I think we got some stuff on BattleTech, right? Some
Yep.
newer final updates, I believe.
Yep, this is where it's getting emotional.
Emotional. See,
Yeah.
basically, like
This is
okay, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. If Mechwarrior 5 went away, we'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go play something else. We're talking about BattleTech. We're like, oh my god, harebrained schemes. No, what did you do? What did you do? No, don't leave us. This is
I mean,
type
they
of
did exactly what they promised us.
well, yeah,
all those years
basically, but it
ago.
has emotional effect. It
Yes.
it has emotional thing going on, man. That's you get drawn in the immersion of BattleTech from harebrained schemes. This is like, oh man, dude, this is the last one, and we're sad. Mechwarrior 5, we're like, okay.
Let's maybe talk about what's going on. So,
Okay,
I was
go
gonna
ahead.
say
Sorry.
we're gushing,
Battletech,
but what
Battletech
is?
obviously had
Yeah,
a
what is
very
it?
set frame what they wanted to achieve. They wanted to get out the game, they wanted to get out certain features, and they wanted to get out free DLCs. And they have officially completed this. It's campaign complete, and it's kind of like HBS is the kind of studio that develops a game, and once they're happy with the game, they move on to something else, which
Yeah.
is a good business model. And it's something they've told us, or at least hinted at, for a couple months now, and it's not surprising. But still, yeah, we've got one final update on the Kickstarter page, with Mitch being somewhat Mitch and also somewhat emotional. And that video is really, yeah, you should watch it.
I'll leave a
And
link down below.
And to go along with it, they gave us some stats, which we might go into in a few minutes because they're really fun.
I love the
And
stats.
Yeah, no.
they also gave us one final update, which is the Battletech 1.9 update, which released, this week in February.
So
don't
going
look like
forward,
one.
I think what we should do is cover just what they gave us content-wise in the patch, and then we can talk just about their PR, the stats, and our final thoughts on BattleTech. I think that makes
Sounds good.
a lot of sense to us. So,
Yeah.
right, last completely free update to BattleTech. They've given us a whole bunch of extra mechs and vehicles to go up against, as well as a few other tweaks and fixes. So, have you guys actually jumped into the game at all to try and find any of these new?
Not yet.
No.
No, not yet. I've been pretty busy doing other things.
Yeah. So mech-wise, it's quite a mix. Like there's just a whole bunch of alternative variants. Those are easy peasy to do. I think all of them are, just different hard points. But again, it will possibly change things how they play. So Javelin 10A is an LRM-15 variant. So you've got SRM-12 Javelin, you've got the 4 medium laser Javelin, and LRM-15 Javelin. Javelins just bring you all the nuisances and pains. But they also brought like a huge number of Lost Tech mechs into the game, and I'm really curious how you get them. If are they piloted by the enemy? Because a lot of these mechs do use double heat sinks, endo, and advanced, like ERPPCs and the like. And it's just it's a lot to start up a whole new campaign just to try and stumble across one of these mechs.
I wonder if it's one of those things where you can just find them just in the stores.
Presumably.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, it's just like if you just
Yeah.
happen to
Especially
go,
given the store rework we got last page, where stores are now very usable and you can kind of find Star League specific stores. I'm fairly certain that's how you get them.
yeah,
Mhm.
I would say it's going to be you find these mechs in a store probably. I think so.
Yeah, so they'll be the last few little nuggets to find in the game. Like I'm most interested to find like the Raven 3X, which its one special thing is it has triple strength monomers. Now, triple strength monomers, the monomers is in the muscles, and it makes it really good at punching. Now, Ravens suck at punching, so obviously the best thing to do is to put really good muscles in it. I don't know, but it's
It
just
also makes you really fast if you're running hot.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to see how that's implemented.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, basically like harebrained schemes did a good job as far as like here's a bunch of mechs you can go and use now. Basically that type of thing. And I'm just curious. And then also too, they wanted the modding community to do some stuff as well too, which they've been doing really good stuff with. So I don't know. I'm saddened that they're gone, but I can understand that that's their business model. They want to go off to different other games like Shadowrun. I love Shadowrun. They did a great job at Shadowrun. I loved it. All different variant games that they did, and now Battletech, and who knows what they'll be doing next.
Yeah, I
I
mean
think
they
BrioS
did
is
good.
not quite done.
So I wanted to cover the patch first, just the actual content within, like,
Go ahead.
and that's why I only covered, I was just like, yeah, Lost Tech, Old Tech. Obviously, you'll see a lot of those. More ECM variants. There's also a whole bunch of new vehicle variants. Typically, they're throwing on snubs, narcs, tag lasers, etc., etc. And a funny thing, I was actually going through Sana, and the majority of these are actually new variants that they just dreamed up. So the Shrek PPC carrier doesn't have a snub version, but they just threw it in there. The Galleon, they just add a tag.
I mean, that
Demolisher
makes sense. It
LB20s.
tanks.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I in my initial write-up about just trying to find out what all of this was, I just said these sort of all seem like Mitch variants. It just Lord Commander requested. Oh, the SRM carrier. It's pretty damn awesome. But what if how awesome would it be if it fired Inferno SRMs? It could shut down a mech in one go.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to facing that one.
Yeah. If anyone does play the game, though, I would be interested to learn what the Scorpion Mark II is. That is not. That's a completely new variant. The Scorpion is just a little tank with an AC5.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do with the Mark II. It's probably an AC5 and a medium laser, and probably something like 5 flamers strapped to it. Or
Probably new tech, like
Yeah.
UAC5, something like that.
LB5.
Yeah, that could make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
UAC 5 would make sense.
Yeah.
And there's 2 APCs. They're completely new inventions, but they're probably going to be boxes with a medium laser on top.
Hey, it's
All
something
right.
new. That's fine with me.
Yeah, it's something that I can't disagree with.
Yeah, they've also added a few quality of life changes. So there's a new difficulty setting, allow you to reduce the cost of Argo upgrades. So you don't like spending 2 million to get the new mech bay. A set of mech bays, you can make it a lot cheaper. You can speed up the time it takes to when you're skipping through time.
Yes.
Because if you were waiting for 2 weeks for your repairs to finish or something like that, takes a bit. But now you can speed that up in the manual setting.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. One of the big ones, the biggest one I had looked at least. I mean, maybe Ian should cover mod, but first, Convoy AI. Now, this I'm really interested about because escort vehicles can now move through the player's mechs and each other. This, I don't know about
Sounds
this.
wonky, but it's so necessary.
Well, there's a give and a take. The problem with the escort vehicles was that sometimes you sort of had like the front vehicle would move one spot and then the others would all just bunch up behind them and they wouldn't move anywhere. And it just, or like the front vehicle would move really far, the second vehicle would move one step, and then the others, like the convoy would split itself. So the vehicles moving through each other makes sense. But I always used my mechs to block the vehicles so that they would move properly. And now they're just going to go vroom.
There's no stopping them now. Yeah, they'll just go ahead and
Yeah.
die.
And I think the biggest issue for me with convoy was just sometimes you get, the convoy is just about to reach the end, like one vehicle reaches there, and the enemy get a lance of drop down, and that lance is usually light mechs, so they get a whole turn to just blow up a vehicle when I have no response, and there is still no response for it.
Yeah. Basically, escort missions for me have always been salvage based because I always know I can't get the Siebel bonus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but still, now they phase through each other. They'll be much quicker to the end zone. They fixed long range and short range pathfinding issues. And if you kill all the enemies, you don't have to run all the way back to your escorts and then slowly shepherd them to the end. It just says, okay, there's no enemies. We can end now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank God.
But these are all very good updates.
Yes.
Escort was always the trickiest mode, and I think it's very good for them to try that the last part. There's also the other little things to touch on, ammo tab is now when you're in stores and mech bay, so the ammo isn't also mixed up with the weapons.
Which MechWarrior 5 needs to go and do.
Also, a very rare piece of Battletech has been discovered. It's called the half-ton machine gun ammo bin.
Very rare.
This is the only type of half-ton ammo in the game. I wish there were other types like half-ton of SRM, but no. The only lost tech available to us is half-ton machine gun ammo.
It's super rare. It was only found on the Helm Core in 3015.
It's actually fairly common in stores, I think, but it's I like it. I just wish there were more half tons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like modders put the half tons in there.
Yeah, half tons were one of the first things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's plus variants of machine guns for anyone who ever used machine guns.
I use them. They're not too bad. They're good.
They're all right. Yeah.
Supreme machine guns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of thinking about the MWO 5 max tier machine gun there, because theoretically, if you do the math, and I'm interpreting all of the stats correctly, that machine gun should do 24 damage per second. So basically, more than an AC-20 round every single second. Well, that's kind of insane. Yeah, plus.
All right. Have you looked at any? Do you know anything about the mod support? The final things they've done, Ian.
Yeah. Okay. The mod loader we got with the last page is integrated into the game, which is obviously an issue if the modding community at some point in 2 years decides the current way of loading mods is not efficient enough. We need something else. Then obviously you can't change it because the mod loader is baked into the game, and you would have to heavily modify the game, which means you're back to doing it by hand and adding files and stuff like that. And this basically allows modders to mod the mod loader and modify the system that modifies mods, if you get what I'm saying.
It's
What?
The mod.
Okay. The mod loader. The mod loader usually in I know, Bob, you modified Battletech a fair bit back in the day. The mod loader was something you installed once, and then it created a new folder for you, which is called mods, and you put all of your mods in there, and the mod loader handled how to load those mods. And in 1.8, HBS basically took the mod loader and straight up integrated it into the Battletech source code, because the mod loader was really good and semi-official. So they just put it in there. But obviously, if at some point the mod loader needs to be extended, you would have to modify the game again, which means you're back to the original method of copying it by hand. And this way you can basically put a mod in mods that patches the mod loader and potentially opens up another folder, which is called mods number 2. And this has a completely different method of loading mods. Stuff like that. It's not something we're probably going to need anytime soon, but it's an absolute necessity to keep the game going long term.
Or it just makes things so much easier when you just want to update mods, because as you said, the thing with a lot of games with modding is you have to sort of you sort of plonk the mods in, and they fit, and then the base game changes or the mods change, and you have to rip the mods out and then plonk a new mods in. And this, so to speak, allows you to sort of if you're on Steam, you just click play, and it'll check for updates and make sure everything's ready to go. And with mods, at least, you can somewhat do that within the mod launcher. You just click, all right, make sure everything's good to go, and it goes yep, everything's good to go, and you can go from there. That's the functionality they've added, so it makes it a lot more accessible.
Yeah, basically this section right there is saying HBS is done with the game, but they still care about it, and they want to make sure it doesn't die anytime soon.
Good. I don't think it'll die.
It's future-proofing the game throughout the modding community. And like, I saw the update, and I saw Mitch's video, and was like, okay, yeah, it's a sad day, it's ending. And then I read this segment, and this is where it really hit me, like, holy crap, HBS is done with the game. This is where I had the realization, this segment there. So
yeah,
text is making me emotional.
Yeah, the patch is, regular patch on their part, but still, there's a huge amount of extra content in terms of weapons and mechs, and just options to the game and improvements to core game modes. So, yeah, it's a great way to sign off. And talking about signing off, we've got some numbers and stats and videos to chat about.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you go onto the Kickstarter page for the Battletech project, or I think they posted on Twitter and all the other sources, there are some fun stats. We've also got a video about the file system, which for most people is probably not going to be interesting at all. For me, it was really fun to see kind of how they branched out and how they started with this little demo, and then it exploded and had all that stuff added to it. So it's
I didn't
fun
really
video, it's a nice
understand that thing.
visualization.
I saw it. I'm like, what the hell am I looking at? Like I thought that was like something else weird, but it's like okay, I'll just
it's
check
really
it out.
easy. You get a visualization of how many files are in the workspace for the game, and you see whenever a person modifies or adds a file, and they shoot a little beam into that tree, and a new leaf grows, and it's a really cool visualization.
Okay.
Even
Now
if you have
now I
no idea
understand
what's
it.
going on, it's fun to look at.
It's
Now,
pretty sweet.
yeah.
It gives you a funny indication of how game development actually is, where it's it's not like just I'm the game developer, typey, and I change everything. It's a huge amalgamation of everybody's work, and it's all strapped together. And that's somewhat what we sort of see with the files, and you can see all the work that they put into it. But yeah, let's get over the stats. I think the stats are the most.
Let's go on to the
fun
most
bits.
important stats. How many Urbies are destroyed every single month? Nearly 100,000 Urbies.
Wow.
And
That's
more than 10,000 Deckers die every single month in Battletech.
Let's have
because
a
FTP
moment for Decker, guys. Hold on.
How many deckers
Okay.
per minute is that?
Come on,
I
you
mean,
gotta
it's
calculate
equal.
yourself.
That's pretty sad, Decker.
10,000.
Some people had the Decker actually live for the whole time.
All my games I have decker live.
That's 0.24. That's a quarter of a Decker every minute. So every 4 minutes a Decker dies.
Every 4 minutes, a Decker got dies.
that's
Ding,
great.
ding, ding, ding.
For just $5 a month,
Yes.
you can
Yeah.
save a Decker.
You can
So
That's
The interesting thing with these numbers is, of course, you can combine these with the Steam stats, so to speak, because Headbrain Scheme's Battletech has been fairly popular throughout. It's had quite a good retention,
Yeah.
unlike Mechwarrior Online or Mechwarrior 5. It's just exploded and is an order of magnitude bigger than the stuff that PGI puts together, which is why we have so many Urbies destroyed per month and so many Deckers dying. Because those Deckers are dying at the beginning of the campaign, because usually he's been shoved into a light mech like the Spider. So that's 10,000 campaigns, 10.5, 10,500 campaigns started every month.
Yeah, and even more impressive,
At
every
least.
single month there are 389 years of playtime going on. So that's a number. That's a big
I
number.
would say a lot of it is due to the amazing PR, the transparency of the updates, and everything. They just kept us going with. They did really
did
good.
it right. Yeah, they did it right, man.
Very
I mean,
nice.
Exactly. This final update post on Kickstarter, the game has been out for so long, and it's not something they necessarily needed to do. Really, they could have just slunk away and been quiet, done a PGI. But no, they were passionate enough about the game. They got Mitch sit down in front of the camera, give an actual face-to-face. They say thanks again. They link it on all their social medias, and they actually have sat down and collated all of this data, and actually gone out of their way to look for things like Urbies destroyed and Deckers dying, because they knew that's the kind of things people were interested in. It shows a passion within Harebrained Schemes that was infectious, and it in the end it is what result they got. That passion was well rewarded, relatively speaking, in the Battletech fandom, and well, hats off to them, and it's well deserved.
Yeah, definitely. And how much are they making, like, for their Kickstarter? It was like a couple million, right? For their Kickstarter?
Kickstarter campaign got 2.8 million.
2.8 million for a game like that. That's amazing.
You always need to consider, though, that just the Kickstarter, they had the backer kit going on even
yeah,
longer.
yeah.
And I recall they made another 1.5 or 2 million there.
Damn.
In my
And
head,
the-
I'm just saying 1.5 to 2 million seabirds, and I'm like, hold up a second.
that's only one Argo upgrade.
Yeah. But yeah, like they did a
Um,
great job, and hats off to them, man. Definitely, hats off to Harebrained Schemes.
Yeah, and well, the thing is that's just the early backers. That's people putting their faith in them.
Yeah.
And by the way, at least, if anybody remembers, at least I got into Battletech, the entire franchise, through Harebrained Schemes. I was backing them because of their Shadowrun games, and they came up with this new Kickstarter for Harebrained Schemes Battletech. I was like, oh, what's Battletech? And that's how I got into Mechwarrior Online and everything else. So yeah, this is just concluding for me where I started with Battletech.
Okay. Yeah. Or Battletech in 1984 with Battle Droids a long time ago. It just fluid from there, I guess. But okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Battletech. This is kind of the end of an era.
Yeah.
I think that's safe to say. HBS is moving on. At this point, I'm gonna say I think Battletech is my personal favorite game out of the Battletech franchise, which is not something I'm saying lightly, given all of the amazing titles in there. And I'm really looking forward to see what HBS does next. I know they have 2 projects in work under the guidance of Paradox Interactive, and we know the people at HBS, and there's still hope that they might return to Battletech. So let's cross our fingers that we might get another one at some point soon.
That would be great.
One day.
One day
One
we'll
day.
see.
Yeah,
Until
true.
then, I'm gonna just keep on playing this and keep replaying it because there's different ways to play this game.
Oh God, yeah.
Which is the best thing about it.
It's so
And
customizable.
once you're
Yeah.
done, you just load up a different mod pack and do it all over again.
Yep.
Replayability is huge. And then for those watching, if you have not purchased it, why haven't you?
Exactly.
What's wrong with you?
If you haven't bought it yet, you should probably wait another half a year or so until all of the Paradox sales include the season pass for the full. What does Paradox
that's a
usually
good
do for
point,
old
yeah.
games? Like up to 80%. So
think
if you
so.
wait another half a year, you can probably get the whole thing super cheap.
Or just
You
spend the
probably-
money, do it, and just get it because
Yeah,
I mean,
quite honestly, this
Yeah.
game is worth every single dollar.
Sale
Yeah,
or no
exactly.
sale, I think we can support this.
I would pay $59.99 for Battletech. They did a
Yeah.
great job on that. I mean, literally, money well spent. Money well spent. $59.99, $69.99. I would probably say, yeah, it's there. But
Are we talking
literally,
base game or season pass? Because that's really important. I think
base
to
game.
play Battletech, you need the season pass. I wouldn't play the base game, honestly.
Really? I've been playing the base game. It's been fine.
It's fun, but the DLCs just add so much,
Oh,
especially
yeah,
Flashpoint and Heavy Metal. Like, especially given that the season pass has been discounted already and it's not crazy expensive, there's no reason to not.
I would purchase the base game at $59.99 if it came out, knowing what I know now. Okay, even with the DLCs, I would still purchase the DLCs like anyways because they got some cool stuff in them. The season pass is just a better thing to get like anyways type thing. You understand? And even now, the BattleTech game is like, I mean, they may have it on sale for like $5, $10 on certain sites. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
it's a great deal, man. Great deal for the game.
I'm gonna be honest. Battletech plus season pass, I would spend $250. So granted, I'm a lot more financially stable than most people I know, so that's me. But
well, once again, we're getting back to the value of money.
Values, yeah. But I'm just looking over to Mechwarrior Online as a comparison point with the Clan Invasion package being $240, and Battletech and Season Pass is so much more value than the Clan Invasion DLC. So hell yeah, I would spend that money if I had to.
Yeah. Okay.
I think if you haven't got it yet already, you wait until it's on sale. I can see there's a Mercenary collection, which is indeed the base game plus effectively the season pass. For me, it's £70 sterling. Take that for what it is. The base game is just £35, so they do still sell it for a fairly high price. I'm quite fond of the game. I think, but I think it does. It's a mixed bag still, in my opinion. Like the story isn't quite there. The first play experience isn't as good as it could be. It just sort of dumps you straight into the middle of the game, into the setting, and you have to figure out all the bits and pieces. Um, and the game can be quite challenging, but in the end, at least, if you've ever played games like XCOM, this is a very strong competitor or an alternative with mech stompy action, and I think it's for that genre it does very well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So is that guy? That's it?
I think that's probably it, guys.
That will be the last update, proper update from Hairbrain Schemes
Yeah.
on Battletech.
Until then.
All right. So for the episode, I've got one final, just a quick FYI for anyone involved in the Battletech Clan Invasion Kickstarter. The custom character surveys are now out if you purchase multiple characters. So at this point, now's the time to check your mails and make sure you fill out those surveys so you get your lore characters.
I wish I could put
Mhm.
Old Bob in there, man. Oh god,
Also,
I
they
wish
did
I could put
something-
Old
they did
Bob in that.
something Kind of cool. If you bought multiple characters, kind of by accident rather than by design, you can combine them into one super character and basically push your character to be featured more heavily in bigger stuff. Like if you bought 5 characters, you can all combine them in one character, and that one character is going to be featured in a novel rather than just as a side note in a source book, something like that.
I wonder if they go to John, or Blaine. Actually, the Blaine party would say, "Okay, you must use Crackneck, the barbarian. Use his name." It's like what?
I'll be kind of honest. I don't think I would like Blaine to particularly use my character because he does some funky stuff.
I don't know. Anyways, so that was episode 115 of the First Circuit Podcast, or 115,000. Tonight's episodes we had as host is Ian.
Goodbye.
Biter,
Blarg.
Larsh,
There you go.
and myself, Old Bob 10025. And thank you everything for you guys do, supporting the channel, supporting everyone, and supporting everyone here. Thank you so much. You guys have a good night. We'll see you online.